Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is what I like to call Coach's Corner, and today I wanted to talk about the expectations people have in the beginning of their journey. And why I want to talk about this is because sometimes when people sign up with me for one-on-one coaching, they believe just making the mental decision to sign up for coaching, whether that's online or in person with me, or them just independently wanting to start their journey, that the mental decision alone within 48 hours, you have to lose a pound or two. And although that would be nice, it's just not realistic. And I'm just going to go into an example of why if someone were to come to me to want to lose weight, I wouldn't directly hop to a weight loss phase, is because if someone comes to me saying that they pretty much have one solid meal a day and the rest of the day they're just snacking, they're keeping themselves barely satiated to just get it through the next hour or two, I would want them to, at first, before we ever do any type of deficit, know what it's like to eat at their maintenance calories. So you don't feel like you're having insane hunger cravings, crashing, not good sleep, don't have energy for the gyms. I need my client to come to me for a weight loss phase when we get to that point. At first, we might be in a maintenance phase for 6 weeks. That's a month and a half. Maybe if we just do the first 2 months, that's 8 weeks of just practicing tracking macros, practicing what maintenance calories are, prioritizing protein, getting out of the habit of snacking and learning how to cook our own meals. Those are things that is a gradual process, and you cannot expect that within the first 24 hours of signing up for coaching that you're going to be able to hit all those nails. Your body has been at an equilibrium for X amount of weeks, and your metabolism is good, your energy is good. When you go to the gym, you have the energy for your lifts. Those are the signs you need to be at before you immediately just jump into a weight loss phase. Although it would be nice to just hop right on in and lose the weight, get to your goal, call it a day, you're snatched, but that's just not how it is. And if you want to make like good progress and long-term progress and genuinely make it like a lifestyle, jumping right into a deficit and damaging your relationship with food and just making it more of like a stressful situation rather than a gradual situation will really hinder your commitment and your consistency. So now that we're at the point where my client came to me and they wanted to lose weight and they've told me that they're a habitual snacker, and I'm like, okay, well, that's fine, but we need to get you at maintenance calories. So then once we hit the maintenance calories and I see that they're consistent with tracking their macros at maintenance, then we'll start lowering their calories 100 each week or maybe bi-weekly and get them slowly into a deficit. And then we could start talking about the 1 pound per week. It's also another thing I wanted to talk about, the expectation that people have with this 1 pound per week that you lose when you're in a deficit. The only way it can go. Some people can even be lucky to lose 2 pounds, 3 pounds in a week if their macros are just so on point and their training and their cardio and their steps are just so on point. But that is not always, it really just depends. Another example for this situation is seeing before and afters on social media. So a lot of times you'll see maybe a coach or even a person post their own progress pictures, and in the photo they have week 1, and then in the second photo they have week 12. You don't really know when week 1 to week 12 happened for them in the grand scheme of their journey. They could have signed up with this coach, and just like I said, that coach, before they even put them in the deficit, they could have had them in a 12-week maintenance phase or even a longer maintenance phase than that. And week 1 could just be the point where they started their deficit, not the point where they started with their coach, okay? So let's say you see a coach you really want to train with on social media and you see them posting insane transformations and you're just seeing, wow, week 1 and week 12, I sign up with this coach and it just takes 12 weeks to transform my body just like that. And that's where you're having expectations not correctly. Because if you realize, like what I said in the first point I was making, you don't know when week 1 started for them. That week 1 could have been after 16 weeks of a maintenance. That could have been even 16 weeks of a surplus. They could have put them immediately and not even in maintenance. They could have just said, we're going to just make your calories super high. And then each week we're going to knock it down. And then once we get to maybe your maintenance calories, that's when we start week 1, because we're going to start week 1 at maintenance. And then each week we're going to decrease your calories. And then after this grand scheme, then we're going to be in a deficit and then we're going to track your weight. But again, you have to realize that just because you sign up with a coach, just because you start going to the gym, just because you sign that contract does not mean in literally 12 weeks 12-week time? Exactly. Because someone else did it or a coach usually does it in 12 weeks, that means that you're going to have that same experience. You have to look at it as a bigger picture and stop focusing so much on literally the window exactly that you're doing to lose weight. And I'm going to go into a third point that I'm going to make into why you might have the expectation that you're going to transform your body in one single 12-week period. And that's not the case, because even if, rewind, we go back to that client that we just said that was showing progress photos from week 1 to week 12. We don't know if this is their first round of a deficit, their second round of a deficit, a third round of a deficit. And the reason why I'm saying rounds of deficits is because if you are on a deficit, you do not just stay in one until you lose all your weight. So if you are someone who has to lose 50 pounds, okay, and we have to lose 1 pound per week, that's 50 weeks. Okay, you cannot be in a deficit for 50 weeks. Your body will adapt to the amount of calories you're at, and you'll eventually just plateau, and you can't just fix the plateau by lowering your calories even more. So if you're already at the lowest your deficit could be, which is just throwing a number out there, 1,300, the solution to plateauing at your weight at 1,300 to continue losing weight would not be to lower it to 1,100, 900, 800. The solution would be to reverse out of it and start increasing your calories 100 back to maintenance or even over maintenance into a bulk, and then you reverse back into your deficit. If you have any more than, I would say, 20 pounds to lose, you're going to have to do multiple weight loss phases. You're going to have to put yourself in a deficit, take yourself out, put yourself back in, and you're going to have to realize that when you're on a weight loss journey, it's not going to be literally 1 pound per week loss until you get to your goal. You're going to have to realize that there's going to be points where you're not going to be losing weight. You're going to be stepping on the scale, and you should not expect a lower number. You might just be staying at the same for a period of time, and you have to just roll with the punches. You have to trust the process. If you're with a coach, you have to trust that they're guiding you and they're not going to lead you astray. They just know what they're doing, and they know that the process is just longer than you have expected in your mind. Signing up with a coach, and let's say they have you on a 3-month contract, you cannot genuinely expect that your coach will transform your body simply in that 3-month contract, especially if you are someone who's a beginner. If you are someone who has to learn from the ground up, you have no foundation in the gym, you cannot expect that you just need one contract with them for 3 months and you're going to be tip-top shape and done with this program. You're going to have to be okay with, okay, I'm signing up with a coach or I'm starting this journey. This is not going to be something where I'm just here for a few weeks, call it a day and call it quits. It's a slow process, and sometimes I even say this a lot to my clients. It sucks so bad that it feels so easy to gain the weight, but it takes so long and feels so hard to lose the weight. I truly believe that losing weight is more mental than physical, because you have to wake up every day and decide that you want to continue doing this process, and it's not something that you really could just wake up one day and just give up and say, you know what, I'm not tracking anymore, I'm done with the gym. But it's so mental to continue waking up and choosing to continue the process anyways. You have to learn how to like the gym. You have to learn how to change your schedule. You have to figure out a way to not find comfort in doom scrolling, laying in bed. You have to push past coming home from work, and instead of immediately crashing on the sofa, changing into gym clothes and heading to the gym and just waiting an extra hour and a half before you get to doom scroll. But those are all things that require mental sacrifices. I actually think that the gym is the easy part of the fitness journey. I know it can be painful, it can be uncomfortable, it can be the last thing you feel like doing, but at the end of the day, you have 24 hours in the day, and the gym is about an hour and a half max of it, and it's such a small window of time that it really is the easier part. But the rest of it is when you leave the gym and you have to mentally constantly be, locked in, watching what you're eating, tracking your macros, and it's a long process, but it's worth it. And the love you have for yourself and the love you develop for the process really becomes natural. I can't tell you how many clients started with me where they hadn't lifted in 5 years ever, and within 12 weeks or even the 4-month, 5-month mark, they come to me and they're like, it's so shocking to me that I would come home every day and do absolutely nothing. Like, it feels so unnatural to just come home and just rot. And those are wins for me. Those are non-scale victories for me, where I know that if my client were to come onto some hardships and wouldn't want to work with me anymore, that they at least know that I integrated fitness into their routine. Like they just genuinely love it now. It's something that they find peace and joy in. It's not uncomfortable anymore. With all that being said, I just think that the expectations that people have on their weight loss journey is a heavy reason why a lot of people don't stay consistent. It's because the second expectations aren't met, or the second something becomes too uncomfortable, too confusing, we run from those feelings. The way that society is built nowadays, where we like to stay safe in our bubble, comfortable, those feelings that aren't that make us want to run away from whatever those are. And a weight loss journey is almost all of those feelings. All those feelings are almost under a microscope or a magnifying glass when you're in a weight loss phase. And it takes a lot of mental effort to push yourself out of it. And if you just set yourself up with realistic expectations, timeline that gradually puts the body in a place to be ready for a deficit, taking them through the deficit, teaching them how to remove themselves from it, how to maintain maintenance calories, and the timeline it will take. Oh, I lost 30 pounds in 10 weeks. Focus more on people who are genuinely trying to educate people on how to bring themselves through a realistic and a healthy weight loss journey, not just throwing someone in a deficit because they signed up with you. Those are all things that people need to know if they want to be on a weight loss journey. And whether you learn that through hiring a coach or doing your own research and learning, as long as you set yourself up for success mentally, and I say weight loss journey a lot, and it might sound cliche, but the reason why I say it's a journey is because when you actually get to the end of your goal, or you're close to your goal, or you're even halfway towards your goal, and you look back and realize where you were and where you are at present day, you literally realize, like, this is a journey. I am learning so much about myself, about science, about food, about the gym, about muscles. And your mind becomes completely changed. It really has to start with the expectations you have for yourself. Do not walk into a fitness journey expecting it to be anything other than your own. It is not someone you saw on social media. It is not someone you know from your neighborhood. It is not someone you met at your kids' PTA group. It is your journey. And if however they did it must be nice, but I got to figure out how to do this myself. I hope this video finds someone well and really helps them mentally realize that they are exactly where they need to be with their weight loss journey, and they just need to make sure that they just put their head down and lock in.